Okay, creating a vintage inspired postcard. Make a new canvas, 6 for the width, 4 for the height. On inches, 300 resolution. Control R to bring up the rulers. Put a guide at these measurements to make the frame. Hold shift to get the numbers to pop. 0.25, 3.75 at the bottom, and 5.75 on the right to make the frame. Next, start typing the name of your place. The font that you pick needs to be thick so you can see the pictures. So, you need to click on Window, Character to bring up this box. Text tool. Click and drag to make a big box, bigger than you think you need. Type the name of the place. Highlight the font, change the color, click on the icon and drag to resize. You can change the spacing, you can change the height, you can change the thickness of each letter, and when it's thick enough that each image can hold a picture, you know it will be a good font. So that is all of this. After that, you want to make your main place name kind of sort of across the piece like these do, so that it fills the page and so that it's your main focus. Also forgot to mention, if your place is a 2-part name like Key West or New York, each of those should be on a separate line when you make the text. So on to this step in making your place name wavy across the piece. You need to highlight the text, create warp text on the top toolbar. I'll show you where that button is. I use Rise and 12%, but you can change it as needed. So right here, click on this, click the drop down, click on Rise. It's going to be really crazy. Something like 12 normally works well, but you can pick what you think looks best, or you can use a different one. Whatever looks good. Press OK. After that, duplicate the text layer, then right-click the copy in the layers panel and rasterize type. You need to make sure that you're happy with the font before you do this, because after you do so, you can't change the font anymore. You're going to duplicate that 2 times, so ultimately you will have a text layer at the bottom and 3 layers of rasterized type. Here's what that looks like. Right-click, duplicate layer, press OK, right-click, rasterize type, and then duplicate this layer 2 times. So it should look like this. These look different because these are now an image layer. They are not font layers that you can alter. This one is still a text layer. That's why it has the T. Okay, the next step is turning your letters into pictures. So how each letter of the place is made up of an image. Here's my example again. So we are on this slide. Again, these slides are on Portal. So eyeballs off on all word layers except for the top layer of rasterized type. That's because, hold on. This one is going to be the one that actually becomes the picture letters. These ones are for the next part. So we are right here. I opened a picture. Which one do I want to use? This one. I'm going to do Control A, Control C, go to my postcard, Control V. It's really big. So I need to zoom out. So here's what just happened. It's huge because it's really good quality picture. So I need to zoom out. Instead of resizing 300 times, it's way smarter to zoom out and then do Control T, resize, holding Shift, and you can rotate if needed. So here's what that looks like. Just kidding. Zoom out first. So Control T, look how big this picture is. So I can hold Shift and I can size it better right now and then zoom back in. So before I mess with this too much, I'm going to do the next step, which is to right-click the photo in the Layers panel and then create a clipping mask and then make it fit the letter. So I'm using this picture for the letter I. I'm right-clicking, create clipping mask. Now it is clipped to the letter I, and while I'm on this layer, I can move it around. I can still do Control T and hold Shift. And even rotate it a little bit if needed. If for some reason part of the picture is hanging on top of next letter over, you can just use the eraser tool and swipe some of that off. So maybe I think that looks good. I'm going to go to my next picture, Control A, cancel. Ooh, I just closed all my pictures. Whatever. Go to my next picture, Control A, Control C, go here, Control V, and again zoom back out. Control T, hold Shift, and then right click, create clipping mask once again, zoom back in, use the move tool, move it into place. I'm using this for the A actually. Really got to make sure it fits and that you can't see the black behind it. Okay, so that looks fine. Now again, I'm using the eraser because it's really on the T. Oh shoot. It's really on the T and the L. And I'm going to keep repeating, file open, pick a picture, Control A, Control C, Control V, and these are all my pictures. They should all be your pictures. It's okay if they're older. Control, dang it, T, hold Shift, make it small enough to work with. Right click, create clipping mask, move it around until it fits. And you're going to repeat that until all of the letters are made up of pictures. So all of the letters are now made up of an image, which are all clipping masks that are clipped to this first layer. The next step is to create your salutation and your fact at the bottom. These should all be different text boxes. So this is the time to do your pretty curly skinny text font because the place name needs to be thick and strong. So for me, I'm typing what my salutation is. Mine you can't see because it's huge, so I need to make it smaller. Yeah. I don't like crooked. I like straight. Well, no one said it had to be crooked. So, your greeting, you can highlight, you can swipe to change the font size, You should have a fact, which is a separate layer at the bottom. Same thing, highlight the text, change the font type, etc. until it is placed nice and you are happy with it. Next step is to use a photo for the background of the picture. Now that I have my place with a picture for each of the letters, I have my greeting with my describing word, and I have my fact at the bottom. I opened up a few pictures to choose from for what I thought might be good for a background. I'm going to use this one. I've already tested them all out, and this one I saw works the best. So Control A, Control C, come here, Control V. And I'm actually not really going to resize it much because I think it fits better like this, just with the cliffs kind of in the background. I'll do Control T and hold Shift to fill the top. Actually, that kind of doesn't matter because I'm clipping the white off anyway. So once you have your picture for the background that goes with the theme that is not overly distracting, you might want to lower the opacity, making sure you're on the right layer. And then you want to crop it so you actually have a white border right here. So you're going to use the rectangular marquee, select inside, so where your postcard actually is, and then Control Shift I. That inverts your selection to where we want the white border. So we're going to press backspace to clear the picture from that space. Make sure you are on the picture background layer and then press backspace. Ta-da, now you have a white border. Control D to deselect. Okay, now that you have a background picture that is not distracting and you have a white border, you need to merge the layers that create the place name that's made up of pictures. So that's all this is saying. So you're going to click on the first little picture that is part of your place name and hold Shift and click on the background that's actually what those are clipped to. So click the first one, hold Shift, click the top place name layer. This selects all of those, and then you just need to right click and say merge layers. So now if I click the eyeball, all of that is joined together. Next step is to outline the layers, the text. So I have white right here for the stroke, but you can do white, black, a color that just goes nicely with it. So that's this part right here. You need to make sure that you're on the layer of your picture letters. So on the top toolbar, layer, layer style, stroke. So on this layer, where'd it go? Layer style, stroke. Move this so you can see what you're doing. So you can see now there's a little bit of an outline. You can press the up arrow key if you click in the box and just make it enough so that you can actually see the outline. And if you want to change the color, you can. I'm going to keep mine black on this one so that it matches my text. I'll press OK, and then I can zoom in a little bit and see what it looks like. So the next step is that these become your shadow letters. So I can turn the eyeball off on the picture letters, and this one's going to be my shadow letters. I am going to show you what it looks like if I was to keep them black. Basically, with the shadow letter layer selected, you can use the down arrow key and start scooching it down and over to the side. So if I think this looks good, I could leave it black. I could also decide to pick a slightly different color. So I would use the paint bucket, and maybe I'll do like a gray or something just to show you. Turn the picture back on, and so I could do something like that if I think that looks nice. So that is this part. So it's pretty simple. We just did the border around the letters. So they have the little outline around the picture letters. The shadow letters are very quick and easily done. And for both of those, you can pick whatever color you think looks best as long as you can read the words. This is just a recap for how to do the white frame border if you missed that step for some reason. So after that, it's really just making adjustments for whatever it is that you think looks good. And then when you're happy with it, you save it as a JPEG.